Hi, my name is Charles Tang, and I'm the founder and CEO of InstanteStore.com. In this short presentation, you'll learn about the one secret trigger that can drive an avalanche of targeted traffic to your website. More about that in a minute. Let me share with you a story. This story starts way back in 2001. I was running a business. I started selling video CDs. If you do not know what video CDs are, they're basically movies stored in CD-ROM formats. Well, they were reasonably popular in Asia before DVDs were introduced. Anyway, business was thriving in my video CD business. We were literally getting 150 to 250 orders every single day. Not bad for a 5-person company run by a 20-plus college dropout. That's me, by the way. But I will always remember that day. The day when I came into work and found that things were just crazy. When I printed out our order packing slips, I saw that we got 800 plus orders that single day. Our sales were boosted by 4 times. I literally did not know what hit us until a customer wrote us an email and said they saw us on the New York Times. I was like, what? The New York Times? What was a small little company in Malaysia doing on the New York Times? I quickly went to the New York Times website and read the article, thinking it must have been a full article covering our site, but nope. To my surprise, the article was mainly talking about the growing popularity of video CDs and debating whether they were legal. There was just a small mention of our site near the end of the article, and that small mention boosted our sales by 4 times. That clearly shows you the power of publicity. Now, the question you should be asking yourself now is how did we get the publicity and how you can do it too. We didn't get the publicity by faxing or emailing a press release to the New York Times. You know that most times they're trash anyway, right? So why and how did we get covered? The reason is we got covered because we were found on the internet. Simple as that. The writer doing the feature obviously searched on Google for sites selling video CDs and ours popped up. Fast forward to the present. The publicity landscape is now even more web-focused than ever. Writers of influential blogs and newspapers search Google, monitor Facebook and Twitter for information and to get the latest scoops. So you just have to be sure you are found when they're searching. A good way to get found is to use online press releases. Professional press release services like prweb.com, for example, publishes your release and gets it into Google News and all the other major search engines. So that way your press release also stays online perpetually forever. And that helps you guess right, get found. Now, before you run out and submit a press release via PRWeb, there are just a few things you need to know. These are tips that will greatly increase your coverage and also boost your chance of getting covered by mainstream media. Obviously, that's what you want, right? Now, this is a first tip, and this is a big one, right? You want to think of an interesting story angle. No, the thing is, news about you launching something is great, but unless you're Apple and you're launching the iPhone 5, you won't get much traction with straight launch news. So you have to think of a interesting story angle, an interesting hook, a different slant to things, okay? And then this is the ultimate test. This is where the rubber meets the road. Imagine if you saw your press release title in your Facebook newsfeed, would you click on it? And if so, after reading the press release, would you share it? If the answer to any of these 2 questions is no, then you've got some work left to do, right? One of the ways I find that one of the easiest ways to get this message across is to do some examples. Okay, so I've randomly chosen a few sites, a few of merchants using Instant eStore, and we're gonna quickly run through how we're gonna get an interesting story angle from each of these sites. Okay, first up, we've got the Interior Gallery. As you can see, they sell bathroom vanities, furniture, stuff like that. So, what kind of press release would you come up with? If you're thinking about come up with a press release about the new range that they launched and stuff like that, well, not so much. You're not going to get much coverage because, once again, apply the Facebook newsfeed test, right? Imagine a headline like the Interior Gallery launches new bathroom range. You're like, so what, right? Okay, but we sort of looked through the site, and apparently they sell some pretty interesting things, right? And one of them is the Velociraptor life-size raptor statue. Okay, believe it or not, these guys, they sell a life-size raptor statue, and you can see where I'm going with this, right? After digging around, I actually found that a guy in Brooklyn bought a life-size Velociraptor statue. So, why don't you contact your customer and ask them, just do a short interview and ask them why they bought this and what it's for. Is it for a new house or a gift or something like that? Okay, so imagine a headline like Brooklyn man buys life-size Velociraptor for his new apartment. Right? If you see that in your Facebook newsfeed and this picture there, would you click on it? Sure, obviously I would click on it. Okay, so you can see what I mean by getting a interesting story angle. The thing is, yes, I understand you may not be selling dinosaurs, right? This is pretty easy. Okay, this is a pretty simple one, pretty straightforward. Site selling doggy accessories. What can you think of? Okay, dress me up party. Okay, dress me up. I think that's always very interesting. For those of you who you may or may not know, yesterday, I think the 5th of September was Freddie Mercury's birthday, right? Okay, so what about dressing up a dog as Freddie Mercury, right? Just to let you see how much attention and news this sort of thing would get you, what I did was I just went to Google News, and I searched for Freddie Mercury, okay? And look at the news that just came out 7 hours ago in the Huffington Post. Freddie Mercury is an angry bird. Queen and Prime honored in, and then annual fancy dress celebration. Stuff like that becomes an angry bird for charity, and so on and so forth, right? So the thing is, if you're selling dog party, as well, not necessarily but apparel, party costumes, take a picture of a dog, your dog, your friend's dog, whoever it is, right? Come up with a headline like Freddie Mercury is a dog, question mark. You know what I mean? So the thing is, when someone sees something like this, especially with a good picture, people are bound to click on it. And now you're going to say, what if I sell something, pretty boring? For example, this is one of the sites that we dug up, wholesale umbrellas. I mean, how can you make this interesting, right? You got to think of a different angle with this. Maybe for something like this, umbrellas, maybe you look at your sales stats, or look at umbrella buying patterns. Which states buys the most umbrellas, which states buys the least umbrellas. You know what I mean? So it doesn't always need to be crazy things, right? If you come up with a headline like, for example, New Yorkers 3 times more likely to buy an umbrella than someone in Utah, for example. Basically, you want to sort of hit on trivia, right? People will find it interesting as well. Why do New Yorkers buy more umbrellas than someone in Utah, for example, right? They'll click on it and they'll read it. You know what I mean? So basically, you want to come up with different angles, different story angles. Okay, interesting story angles that are shareable. Okay, let's move on. Tip 2, when you can't think of anything interesting about a product, you want to tie up your news to something that's currently happening or is newsworthy. For example, the dog accessory shop, right? I tied it up with Freddie Mercury's birthday, right? So back to the iPhone 5 example. If you're selling phone cases, now would be a great time to issue a press release about your line of cases that are iPhone 5 compatible. If you do have it, of course, right? You can see where I'm going with this, okay? Now, tip 3, this is a bit mundane, but hey, it's something you need to know. It's very, very important for you to know. Although it's tempting, do not use free press release services, right? These don't have the reach of the major paid services, and you see close to zero impact. So don't waste your time doing that, right? Tip number 4. So what do you recommend? We recommend using PR Web because they're one of the most reputable and solid services around. And specifically the PR Web Premium Press Release, because it allows you to include images and video with a release. You can see that in the previous example with the dogs, or with the Freddie Mercury and even the Velociraptor, right? Having an image there makes a huge difference. So this makes your release more interactive and also helps to grab attention. What's more, your video can actually start to pre-sell audiences before they reach your website, right? Tip 5. link to your website within your press release. These links will help to boost your site's search engine ranking. But the thing is, you got to be careful to use a combination of URL links and brand name links and keyword links. Brand name links are links that uses your company name, your business name, your website address, your domain name. Those are brand name links, okay? So the thing is, press releases are a very potent tool for SEO, since it's a great way to get links from reputable sites. Just think about it. Your press release gets syndicated to a lot of different sites, and all these sites are reputable sites. So it's a great way to get links from reputable sites. Tip 6. Make sure to add engaging images. Pictures of your product with a human element works best. Tip 7. Create a video that continues the conversation of the press release and submit it with the press release. The thing is, your video can pre-sell your audience, showcase your products, or even be a demo of your product or service. The idea is to move people one step closer to clicking through to visit your website. Great, now that you know all this, how do you get started? Well, you can obviously go the do-it-yourself DIY route if you're comfortable writing. Spend 2 or 3 hours doing some research and writing a good press release. Spend another hour or 2 creating an engaging video, and then submit it all using PRWeb's premium web release package. The total cost to do that, well, $369 for the PRWeb premium web release package, and about 3 to 5 hours of your time. Nothing too crazy, fully affordable. Or you could get a team of writers and marketers to do it for you. We will research hot topics that are related to your business and think of the perfect hook for your news release. Then our experienced writers will write the press release for you and also create a great video to engage readers to visit your website. We'll then submit the press release, images, and video using PRWeb's premium release package for maximum impact. Not only that, we'll also share your release on Facebook and Twitter, plus send tips to relevant blogs and news sites if applicable. All this works to drum up even more publicity and get the word out to your target market. So, the question is, how much does this cost? Well, let's look at the total value of this. Research and writing the release would be around $500, to be very conservative. Creating a 2 or 3 minute video, engaging video, will be about $250. And the price of submission via PRWeb premium release is $369. So that's a real world total value of $1,119 or thereabouts. The total value, remember, is $1,119, well, or thereabouts. Our price is only $497. $497, you think that, it's something that is pretty reasonable. Obviously, it's less than half of whatever the total value is, but today you do not need to pay $497 even. Today you only pay $327. To be honest, that's even cheaper than the PRWeb premium submission fee if you did it yourself. I mean, this is a no-brainer. You can save even more if you buy a press release bundles. These are good for a year, so if you can choose to use them whenever you want. So hurry, because our capacity is limited. We only have so many writers, and we can only write so many releases per day. So I strongly suggest you secure your massive discount today before we raise the price to $497. So click on the Get Me Publicity button now to get started.